Hello, Wonderhussy here, coming to you live from the middle of the beautiful high desert mountains on a chilly winter's day when there's even little tiny patches of snow on the ground. Brrr! A lot of people don't realize it gets cold up in these desert mountains, but that doesn't stop me from off-roading and exploring. Today, I'm headed to check out an old abandoned mine camp that somebody tipped me off to. Looks like there's a cabin and some old mine adits and mining equipment ruins and supposedly a really cool old car. So I figured it's a beautiful sunny day. I've got a heater in my car. I've got good off-road tires. I've got four-wheel drive. Why not go up and check it out? There she is, my trusty steed, waiting patiently for me. We've been driving up this sort of rough, gravel, rocky road. And well, to get to this cabin, I gotta go up another 3 miles. And hopefully the road continues to be fairly mellow so that I don't have to get off my big fat keister and hike any of it. You know what I mean? Walking is for commies, driving is the American way. Well, guess you're gonna have to call me a commie because I'm not driving any farther on this road. I mean, you can see the higher I got in these mountains, the more snow there was covering all these treacherous rocks, and well, it just gets worse up ahead. So I decided it'd probably be a smart move to just leave my car parked here at this flat area where I was able to turn it around and at least get it pointed the correct direction down canyon, so that when I get done exploring this old mine camp, I won't have to fumble around in the dusk. But according to Google, I'm only about a mile from the mine camp, and I still have like 3 hours of daylight, so I should have plenty of time. I think I'm definitely going the right way because there's a lot of footprints in this snow, human and dogs. And that tells me I ain't the only commie in these parts. This snow, I think, fell about a week ago. So who knows when these footprints are from. And, well, hopefully no one's up there right now. Uh-oh. What I thought were dog footprints that were sort of running alongside the footprints of a human might not be footprints of a dog after all, because the human footprints have disappeared, but the dog, or whatever it was, kept on going by itself. I don't know though, that's not big enough to be a mountain lion, so I think I'll be okay. As long as I keep my pace up. Don't want to get stuck up here after dark. Oh, look. My first signs of some kind of human presence. Looks like the remains of an old wooden bridge. Looks like there's a kind of a wash that runs down here. So this was probably put in here just to kind of shore up the road for when flash floods do come running down through here. And well, they probably keep it from washing out the road. Whatever the case, it's a sure sign that I'm on the right track. There it is! I made it! Probably see a little door peeking out of the trees there, a couple other structures up there. And yeah, to be perfectly honest, I'm not expecting there to be a ton of awesome stuff here, but, well, hold everything. Here's something awesome. I mean, no sooner was I explaining how this was going to be a boring place when I came upon this awesome rusted old truck. Look at this. Now, the person who tipped me off to this location told me what he thinks this truck is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around and give her a good long sexy pan so you guys can put your guesses in before I tell you what I think it is. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. It's a real old pickup truck. Looks like it might have been originally painted sort of an army green. There's your first clue. Shot full of bullet holes, as is to be expected in these parts of the country. Steering wheel's gone. All the little knobs and doodads are gone. Oh, why is that the ignition right there in the middle? Oh, that must be where they used to put the ignition back in the day. That's funny. It's pretty well preserved considering that it probably gets snowed on every year and has been for every year that it's been up here, which no telling how long that was. Okay, it looks like the spare tire was mounted right here on the side, which is also kind of unusual and might be another clue. And you can see where it was mounted right there in the middle. Let's see, the bed. Oh, it's just full of junk and snow and a tree growing up into it. And then back here on the side of the bed, it looks like there was some kind of logo, maybe. Maybe red, something red and white. Okay, here's looking at the front. Panning down, here's the headlights. Those really cool old-timey headlights that stick up off of the front fenders. Anyway, that's the truck. So get your guesses in now as to what you think this was. And I'll tell you, the person who emailed me about this site thought it was a 3/4 ton Dodge World War II salvage, possibly an old ambulance. Does that seem right to you? I guess he thought it was an old World War II ambulance that somebody had turned into a pickup truck. And well, he came to that conclusion because of where the spare tire was mounted, and also he thought you could still see the markings of a red cross on the side, but I'm not really sure that's what that is. You know, that could just be rust. Let's go look over on the other side and see if it's any clearer. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it just looks like a red... Oh, well, maybe that's the bottom of the cross. I mean, does that make any sense? Like, if this... You know how the ambulance red cross is printed on a white square? Well, this could be the bottom of the white square. And at one time there was a red cross painted when it was a fully functioning ambulance, but it was modified into a pickup truck. And you can definitely see here where it was modified. They just cut it clean away. You can tell, especially up there, it's kind of rough where they cut it off. So yeah, let me climb up here, get a closer look. By golly, I think he's right, because look, if you look back at where that red cross panel is, you can see that it does fold over the top, and you can see the top is just sort of cut off. So I'll bet you anything that was a red cross, and this was a World War II ambulance. How friggin' cool is that? Way up here in the mountains. Golly, you never know what you're gonna find out here in the desert. That is one of the coolest old cars I've ever found while exploring the desert or the mountains or anywhere for that matter. But as beautiful as it is, I don't want to spend all day looking at this truck because there's a lot of other interesting stuff here on the ground, including a lot of really old cans. This one doesn't have a label on it anymore. But yeah, I only have a couple more hours of daylight and, well, I still got to poke around these cabins. So let's continue poking around the site while we still have a little bit of sunlight. Sun already went down behind that ridge there, but we still got at least an hour. Oh, look at this. It's like an old stove. Looks like someone's been using it for target practice. There's kind of a human-shaped figure peeking out from behind it. And then there's a bunch of stuff piled up on it that I guess stuff people found at the site. A really old-looking ceramic plate or bowl. Wow. No telling what kind of meals were cooked up on this stove and in this oven. You know, probably all kinds of hearty miner's grub like biscuits and gravy and chicken fried steak. All this hiking has worked up quite an appetite in me. And here's something else kind of interesting. Cactus surrounded by snow. A lot of you might not realize that cactus actually does grow in areas where it snows regularly. I don't know. This looks like just a little paddle cactus, and gosh, I don't even know what elevation we're at. Let me check that. Oh, golly! Altimeter says we're at 5,800 feet. Well, that explains why there's all this snow up here, choking out this poor cactus. Oh, look. I feel like I have ADHD, but this is actually a really good overview. So we need to go check out that bulldozer or earth mover. And then we need to go check out, there's a little cabin hiding in there. and then there's some kind of mining head frame over there. So let's start out with the old bulldozer. Looks like it said bronze 618-726-6878. Bronzy, I got your number. 726-6878. Anyway, the old bulldozer, I think that's what you would call this. Looks like it's still in pretty good shape. I mean, there's a peek inside the engine compartment. Oh, wow, look. What does it say up here? Stone wall? Is that what that says? Stone wall. Yeah, stone wall. Okay. And then here's where the guy sat who operated this thing. Oh my goodness. Old plywood seat. But dang, look at the tracks. They're still solid. I mean, that is one big hunk of steel. I guess that's why you see so many of these giant hunks of rusty old machinery in these far-flung parts of the desert. Because, gosh, it's so heavy and cumbersome to move it down anywhere to even sell it for scrap that, well, they just end up leaving them up here to sort of gently rust away. Anyway, that's the bulldozer. Now let's move on to this cabin, and then we'll go up behind it and check out that old mine head frame. But before we head to the cabin, look at this. This is weird sign. What does this say? Los Pueblos, low 100s. Okay, I'm guessing that's a joke. So it's probably a sign from some housing development. You know how they build those housing tracts that have fancy names like Desert Sands or, well, in this case, Los Pueblos. And to me, it looks like they put it here. Some prankster put it up here under this cabin to sort of pretend like this is a brand new fancy housing development. Okay, that's pretty funny. Whoever put that here gets my stamp of approval. Yeah, look, just an old, well, I guess it wasn't curved like that to begin with, but it got all warped from the weather. Wild. Oh, look, there's another one over here too. Oh, well, this one's not pointing at any houses, so I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about it being a joke, and it's just some garbage that somebody left up here. Okay, let's see what's inside this cabin. It's a pretty simple affair. Well, before we go in, look at the door. It's got one of those really cool horseshoe coat hangers on it. It's a small room. I'd guess maybe like 15 by 10 or something. There's an old 55-gallon barrel that's been turned into a stove with a nice stovepipe going up through the roof. So you probably could get this place, well, somewhat warm. I mean, there are a lot of holes in the roof, and, well, the walls aren't even really sealed up super tight. You can see over here, there's some cracks. It's just sort of a patchwork hodgepodge of old pieces of plywood and OSB, and it looks like maybe even old road signs. Who knows what it's all made of. But there is a ladder in here, so if you wanted to do some repairs, you could get up on the roof. And then there's a little tiny sort of shelf with some supplies laid in. Not a ton. And it's also kind of dim light in here, so forgive me if this is fuzzy. Maybe I should turn my flash on here. Now that kind of ruins the vibe, but... Oh, look at this. This coffee cup is from Jenner's in Fort Mojave, Arizona. Complete home furnishings. Anybody been to Jenner's in Fort Mojave? As far as supplies, well, there's a candle, which would be good for light. And then there's a couple bottles of water, which could be life-saving. Can of corn. Oh, a Duraflame fire starter. That'd be a real lifesaver. To get a fire going in that stove. Another can of corn. A mystery can. For that matter, there's another mystery can here. And, oh, this one here is Libby's Surprise. So I'm guessing it's like vegetables, because isn't that what Libby's makes? Unless it's some lady named Libby who has a surprise in there, and I don't want to know what that is. Pork and beans. Ooh, potatoes. Chili, more corn, more chili, and more corn, and another candle. Wow, you could actually make a pretty good meal out of what's on this shelf here. Now, let's just imagine that I was foolhardy enough. Imagine I'd been foolhardy enough to drive my rig all the way up this bumpy road in the snow, and, well, unfortunately something happened. And now I was stuck up here overnight. And it's gonna, I mean, it's cold now. It's like in the upper 40s, I think. It's gonna get real cold tonight. So what if I had to hunker down in this cabin for the night? What would I do? Well, I'd take that little Duraflame fire starter there, and I'd go ahead and I'd put it in the old stove here, And I do happen to have a lighter with me in my rig. I have some supplies of my own that I brought, so I'd start a big old rip-roaring fire. I happened to notice there was plenty of firewood scattered all over the place out there, so I think I'd be good on firewood. And then, you know, once the stove got going good, the fire got going good, the top would probably get real nice and hot, and I could just set me some cans of food up here to cook. And I'm pretty sure I do have a can opener in my car. I have one of those little GI can openers that a viewer sent me. So I'd be able to bust right in and, oh gosh, what would I make for dinner? Well, as tempting as it would be to try at Libby's surprise, I think I'd go for a big old can of chili with corn and potatoes. And oh gosh, I might even have to mix some pork and beans into it. Man, this cold weather really does work up an appetite. Now I'm almost wishing I was stuck up here for the night. But not quite. You know what I mean? My cozy bed at home would be a lot more fun to be in tonight than up here. Okay, and then there's this old cooler that has no lid, but it looks like there's a kind of like a trail register. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody was just here on the 11th. Today's the 20th, so 9 days ago. That must be whose footprints I was seeing. Beautiful trail. Merry Christmas. Cheers. Somebody named Marcus. And then, the same day, Ahmad Dabas. Beautiful place. God bless the USA. Right on. Okay, and then there's a real old notebook here. Look at this. University of Nevada, Las Vegas. This is a really old UNLV notebook that was the original trail register. Look, the first entry is from 1990, 4th of July. This is really cool. So there's all kinds of entries in here from the 90s, 91, 92. Okay, well, I better sign my name. Okay, I wrote today's date, December 20th, 2021. Gorgeous day to hike and explore these beautiful mountains. Love this place. Wonderhussy. Hopefully nobody will write anything mean underneath my name, as I've seen at some other cabins I've been to. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in the cooler. Well, let me see what else is in this cooler. Looks like there might be some even older notebooks. Like, look at this. I guess this may be the last time we get up here since Finstein screwed it all up. Have a great life. Somebody wrote this back in 1995. I guess maybe he meant Dianne Feinstein, and he was upset about her passing some legislation where you can't drive your Jeep up here anymore or something like that. That's my guess. Old notebooks. Yeah, these are just more old notebooks with more people's little stories of how they got here and what they did and what they drove. 91 4Runner V6, Cal Poly geology student. All right, cool. Let me put this other notebook and the notepad back in here. Just the way I found it. And you know what? I think I'm going to put the lid on the cooler too. I happen to notice the lid is sitting here. I don't know why it wasn't on it to begin with. Maybe it blew off. And then I'll put a rock up on top of it to keep it from blowing off again. Now I can say I left this place better than I found it. Okay, anyway, like I said, this is a really cute, cozy little cabin. But as cozy as it is, it's no match for my bed at home. So I'm going to go ahead and finish exploring this mine camp so I can get home at a reasonable hour and not freeze my fingers off. Another thing I'm going to do is try to close this door. There. Loop this piece of rope over this rusty nail, just like that, to keep it from blowing back open. There. Now no critters can get in, and well, maybe it'll sort of keep the interior of the cabin, well, at least a little bit cleaner. Oh my god. I got real cold in there writing that stuff in that notebook, poking around. Whew. I gotta finish exploring this site and get back to my nice warm car. Okay, so next to the cabin, it looks like there was a flagpole at one time. Who knows when the last time a flag hung up there was. Looks like they had a flag nailed to the wall instead last time anybody was up here. But it's a really cool little site, you know? This beautiful, sort of tucked in this little canyon up here, right next to this mine thing that we're gonna go explore. Here's the back side of the cabin. Oh, look, it looks like there used to be a back room. Let me go around the other side. See what's on this side. Oh gosh, yeah, it looks like this side they had to lean these old timbers up just to keep the wall from collapsing. Cabin's in rough shape, I guess. Maybe because the road is so rough, people can't drive up here anymore to maintain it like they used to. It's not like the road is closed off, though, so I'm not sure what that person griping about Dianne Finstein was talking about. But yeah, look, there used to be another room on the back. Wonder what happened. Oh my goodness, just full of snow now. Okay, let's go check out this old head frame or whatever it is. Now, according to my intel, I think this place was operational up until like 1951. It was just a small operation. I think it was copper, lead, and oh, what did they call it? Trace gold. So I'm guessing that means just like little bits of gold. Probably nothing super profitable, which is why it went out of business. Anyway, look, here's this old, well, it's not a head frame, it's just an old ore bin, but it looks like there's almost like old railroad tracks up there. Like there was some kind of narrow gauge rail. Huh, I gotta try to hike up and check it out. Oh, sure enough, look at that. It's an old narrow gauge rail line leading right over to that ore bin. I don't know if I can trust it. Let's see. Huh? Seems pretty solid. Should I walk out there? Why not? Gotta be real careful. Make sure nothing's moving. It feels very solid. I think we'll be okay. Yikers! Look at this. Okay, we almost made it to the end. Real careful. If you have vertigo, you might want to fast forward the video because I'm about to pan up and show you what we're looking at. Okay, there's the ore bin down there. It looks like that was some kind of, what do you call it, like a chute? I guess they just dumped the ore down there, went into the bin, into the truck waiting below, and then on down, past the cabin, past the bulldozer, back down the canyon, to where my car is parked. It's a pretty good overview from up here, huh? Kind of scary, though. I think I better get down off of here. One last overview before I climb down, though. Isn't that cute? A little mine camp in the snowy mountains. Almost looks like something out of Career and Dives. These wonderful things are the things we'll remember all through our lives. Our cheeks are nice and rosy and comfy cozy are we. We're snuggled up together like two birds of a feather could be. Let's take that road before us and sing a chorus or two. Come on, it's lovely weather for a mine explore together with you. And you, and you, and you. Anyway, let me just get back off of here without killing myself. But it is really cool to see this old narrow gauge rail line up here. Look at that. Still intact after all these years. That's pretty neat. And this wood is actually in pretty good condition too, you know? This it's not wobbly or precarious at all, in case you think I'm totally stupid for climbing up here. I'm just partly stupid. Okay, and then these rail lines were coming from back here somewhere. It's a real old rusty corrugated tin shack up here that must have been some kind of mine building. Let's go check that out. Oh yeah, nothing left in here. Just bare metal. Not even any birds or bats roosting in the rafters. Gosh, you know it's cold when it's even too cold for birds and bats. Okay, well it looks like that narrow gauge rail came from, well, somewhere here in the side of this mountain, but it's collapsed in now, maybe? I can't imagine that it curved around over this way. Let's see what's back here. Oh, well, look, there is a little bit more rail here, so maybe it did come from up the canyon. Ooh, but this canyon is choked with trees and brush. And I didn't bring a machete, and I didn't even bring a headlamp, and oh gosh, my hands are already like half frozen, so I don't think I really want to go hiking around up higher into these mountains looking for any mine adits. My research online about this place did indicate that there are a few mine adits you can go in up here, but well, today's the day before the winter solstice, so it's like the second to last shortest day of the entire year, and I only have about 30-45 minutes of daylight left. So I just don't think it'd be smart to go hiking around any mine adits half-cocked right now. You know what I mean? I already pushed my luck climbing around on top of that old ore bin. Let's not push it any farther. Aw, this little cabin was so cute. I really liked it. I'm sad to say goodbye, but would I really want to spend the night there? Well, not in the winter. Well, golly, I'm colder than a witch's, well, you know what. And so I'm going to go ahead and start hiking back down to my nice, warm, cozy rig now. Hopefully it starts, or I will be back up here in this cabin after all. Stay tuned to find out. Woohoo! Now let's see if she starts. Oh yeah, it's already so much warmer and cozier in here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it feels so good. I dare say it feels better than any fire in that wood burning stove could ever feel. Anyway, that was a really cool little mine camp, and I would definitely come back up here again when it's not so cold. It'd be a really cool place to camp out with some friends, and well, that way you could explore all the mine adits and no telling what all else is up in that canyon. And as I was hiking back down, I looked over the road again, and yeah, I almost certainly could have driven all the way up there if I wanted to. And I know that sounds like a little kid's cop-out. Well, I could do it if I wanted to, I just didn't feel like it. But I just felt like, why take the unnecessary risk? I'm all alone, there's no cell signal, and it's gonna be really cold tonight, so I'd rather not get in a jam that could be easily avoided with a little good old-fashioned exercise. Anyway, that being said, I'm gonna head on home to my good old-fashioned bed and my good old-fashioned kitchen with good old-fashioned hot water and good old-fashioned food, because I am starving. But I'll see you on the next adventure.